you're in too deep. To turn back, the internet is no place for the faint of heart. Every solstice, the city forgets itself, then remembers. It's built on ruins, layers of failed empires, lost languages, ancient tech, and stubborn hope. And every year, when the sun crests the old spires and the veil thins, the past returns hungry and bright. People come from across the continent for the Ancestor. But for my family, the day is everything. In this city, where time frays at the edges, where buildings hum with the echoes of rituals once sung in a dozen forgotten tongues, we hold on to what we can, the scent of citrus and spice, the burnished tiles our great-grandparents laid by hand, the patterns passed down in songs, in cake batter, in half-remembered recipes scrawled on the backs of solar receipts. I'm Veda. I live with my little brother Nox, chaos engine, my mother, Eleonora, calm, eternal, my bonus mom Janice, louder than the city's wind turbines, and my dad Ray, hopeful, eccentric, always bringing up the rear. Our bakery is the last one in the old quarter, a squat glass and brick patchwork of solar panels, painted tiles, and sun-drunk vines crawling up warm walls. A mural sprawls across the east side, painted by neighbors during the festival 2 years ago. It's a swirling vision of the city's many lives, horses and hoverbikes, braided hair and neural crowns, cooking fires beside fusion stoves. Every year, someone adds a piece. A star, a ghost, a face from a dream. No one signs it. No one dares. We bake the Ancestor cakes sweet, spiced, never the same twice. If you eat one at the right moment, you might get a message from across the veil. Not always from who you expect. Not always what you want to hear. This year, the city feels off. The festival's grown larger, the crowds denser, the solar array flickers in the morning haze. For the first time in centuries, the skies have stayed cloudy for days. Everyone's worried the ritual will fail. The streets feel hesitant. Even the concrete holds its breath. The day begins too quietly. I wake with that strange hollowness that comes before something important, the kind of silence that builds pressure in your bones. Outside my window, the gray light clings to everything, muting the color from the market stalls and turning the glass towers flat and dull. For a while, I just lie there, trying to catch the tail end of a dream, already slipping away something about a silver-winged kite and a woman with my eyes who called me Ancestor. I stare up at the ceiling, where Nox has taped glow stars into a constellation that doesn't exist on any chart. I walk the district before sunrise, just trying to feel normal. The alley behind the library smells of wet stone and wilted garlands. Someone's drawn protective runes in neon chalk along the curb. In the plaza, vendors mutter under faded fabric canopies as they set up. They speak in low tones, as if gossip might leak through the veil early. They say the connection's fading. Last year, only half the cakes shimmered. My uncle swears the veil skipped his whole block in 23. A child passes, dragging a cart full of candles, red, orange, gold wax smeared on their hands like war paint. They nod at me, solemn and strange, like we've agreed on something wordless. I nod back, unsure what we've just promised. 2 old women in matching shawls embroidered with Ancestor sigils shuffle past. One whispers, maybe we've asked too much. Maybe the dead are tired of answering. Maybe we are, too. By the time I return to the bakery, the air is heavy with ginger and orange peel and uncertainty. I'm 15, anxious, and supposed to help lead the family ceremony. Knox is 12, reckless, and absolutely convinced he can save the day with his newest invention, a folding patchwork reflector made from scavenged solar junk and shredded festival garlands. Eleanor and Janice are in the kitchen, prepping dough, talking low. Janice gestures with flour-dusted hands. Eleanor measures spices like she's conducting surgery. Ray hums in the background, fiddling with the solar oven's readout, whispering, "Simon, just one good sunbeam." This year, we've added charms to the oven, thin copper wires etched with glyphs, a shard of mirrored obsidian from Aunt Suri's shop, 3 drops of honey collected during the last summer heat wave. The oven, ancient and solar-powered, only works at full strength on solstice noon. That's when the boundary is thinnest, when the city feels layered and strange. When the cakes come out warm, voices ride the steam. Knox bursts in, hair flaring like a solar flare, clutching a tangle of mirrors and wires. "I got it," he crows. "We're gonna bounce the sunlight right into the oven, even if it's cloudy." Aunt Suri, let me borrow her drone. It's already mapping the angles. Janice whistles. "Look at you, little engineer." He spins in a circle and immediately knocks over the herb rack. Eleanor doesn't flinch. She catches the jar of cloves midair and sets it gently on the counter. That's who she is, the still point in the chaos. I hover at the window, scanning the sky. Clouds are stubborn thick, gray, barely letting the city's solar towers flicker. Outside, the festival is a blur of color, paper lanterns, food carts, families wrapped in ceremonial scarves, all waiting for a miracle. I hear a neighbor mutter, "If the cakes don't work this year, maybe the old magic's finally gone." There's always a whisper about endings. My panic catches up. What if we're the last? What if we mess it up? If we lose the connection, is it gone forever? Eleanor meets my eyes, hands steady on the bowl. Tradition is just adaptation that survived. You can't lose what you're willing to change. Ray grins, holding up a cracked solar charger. Worst case, we get sun-warmed cake and pissed-off ghosts. Knox has already bolted outside, shouting at neighbors, rallying a parade of kids armed with mirrors, reflector shields, even a bike mirror or two. Within minutes, a patchwork grid forms in the plaza, catching light in odd, defiant ways, spilling up the bakery's walls, crawling over the glass. Someone drags an old chrome delivery cart into place. Another climbs onto a bench, balancing a disco ball on a broomstick. Someone else strings a wind chime made of antique spoons across a clothesline. To catch stray frequencies, they say. I join them, better than chewing a hole through my lip. Knox stands on a stack of crates and points dramatically. Widen the net. Second balcony, mirror left. Jonah, spin the garland. No, slowly. Alva, tell the drone to stay 10 degrees off true, or we'll fry the panel. The absurdity hits me all at once. Children stringing reflectors from laundry poles, neighbors shouting about beam angles. People are laughing. Some aren't. But no one leaves. Janice checks the timer. 5 minutes to solar noon. Let's move. Inside, the kitchen smells like memory. The dough is ready. We each whisper a wish into the batch, a name, a memory, a secret hope. Eleanor stirs it in with the old wooden spoon. Janice adds a scoop of candied ginger. Ray drops in a handful of golden raisins. Knox flings in a pinch of neon sprinkles. I add the last, a spiral of cinnamon. I think of my grandmother, Her stories about her first solstice as a baker, how the cakes burned black on the outside and still shimmered when bitten. I think of the dreams I've been having, strange cities, future scars, languages I understand only while asleep. We shape the cakes together, hands bumping, laughter almost loud enough to drown the nerves. Outside, Knox shouts, N-O-W. The sun's faintest rays flicker through the clouds. The patchwork of mirrors pulses. Overhead, Knox's drone sweeps across the sky, catching and focusing a shaft of light straight into the oven's receiver. The ancient machine hums to life with a sound I've never heard: wind and bells and distant singing. We load the cakes and watch as they begin to glow from within, crusts blooming with iridescent streaks. Outside, the city holds its breath. The oven pings. We start handing out cakes as fast as we can to families from every part of the city, to old neighbors, to strangers who wandered in wearing festival scarves and expressions full of wary hope. They scatter to steps and rooftops and benches, cradling cakes like offerings. There's a hush before the first bite, like everyone's waiting for someone else to go first. A little girl in a yellow scarf breaks the silence. She takes a nibble, gasps, then laughs, then starts to cry. She points upward, wide-eyed, as if someone's just appeared above the market canopy. Her mother wraps her in an arm and whispers something I can't hear, something old or improvised, but sacred either way. I take a bite. The world shifts. Not gently, not like a door creaking open. It folds sharp, sudden, soaked in light. The city fractures and restitches itself in real time. The streets bloom with faces, not just the living, but the remembered. Ancestors drift through the plaza, a woman in festival robes, laughing as she dances with children not yet born. A man with raised eyes and a stranger's voice nods at me, then winks at Knox. People cry. People laugh. People call out names that haven't been spoken in a lifetime. One man falls to his knees before a pale figure with the same scar. A trio of teenage boys forms a protective circle around a flickering grandmother. Near the lamppost, a blind woman weeps softly. "I can see him," she whispers. "I can see him." Flashes come. Eleonora as a child, hiding under the counter, hands sticky with stolen dough. Janice, at a future festival, singing the song I've never heard. Ray, standing with someone who has his father's posture and his son's face, arguing over how to rebuild a stove that doesn't exist yet. Knox, older, gray at the temples, piloting a sleeker drone, children gathered at his feet beneath unfamiliar stars. Me, older too, baking side by side with someone I don't know, but trust completely. And in between the visions, the city itself hums. The buildings breathe. The stone glows faintly with shifting patterns. The air pulses with layered voices chanting, laughing, telling stories in half-remembered tongues. A child steps through a doorway that wasn't there and returns with something carved into their palm, a symbol we'll find etched across buildings by morning. A ghost dog bounds through the plaza and vanishes into someone's shadow. Two girls shriek with laughter as a flaming kite sails overhead. An ancestor in a feathered shawl walks hand in hand with someone in a spacesuit. Time doesn't just fold, it dances. I hear my name. I turn. My grandmother stands just outside the bakery door, arms folded, flower on her sleeve. She looks exactly as I remember her, not glowing, not mysterious. Just her. She nods once, slowly. Then vanishes like steam. But the warmth stays, settles in my chest, like a hearth relit. For a few chaotic, luminous minutes, the city is more alive than it has ever been. Time overlaps. People greet ancestors, glimpse futures, mourn what's gone and celebrate what remains. The past and future spill into the streets, their voices rising with the scent of sugar and the sharp tang of solar-charged air. A street musician begins to play a song none of us recognize. Still, everyone joins in the harmony. 3 bakers from 3 different centuries knead invisible dough on a plaza bench, their movements perfectly in sync. A ghost child tugs at my sleeve and whispers, "Thank you." Tell her the name again. She forgot. I don't know who she means. I whisper the name I've always loved, Suri. The child vanishes, leaving behind the scent of lavender and something older, like lightning trapped in stone. Janice hugs Eleanor, eyes wet. Did you see him? My grandfather. He was at the bandstand. Whistling. Ray looks stunned. I met the first baker. She said we should try more citrus next year. Knox is vibrating with joy. Veda, I think I just met my great-great-grandkid. They said I invent something that changes the city. And they looked like me, just way taller. He's glowing. I've never seen him like this, filled with a certainty too big for his bones. I stand, heart pounding, scanning the plaza for a sign, some lingering message, something to hold on to. And for a moment, I see the outline of a different city layered atop our own. Its buildings are stranger curved, humming, alive but familiar. As if it's been waiting. A woman walks through it, trailing strands of light, and mouths a word I'll spend years trying to translate. Eventually, the cakes are gone. The echoes fade. Crowd drifts home, grinning, weeping, dazed, clutching memory scraps and story seeds like treasure. We clean the bakery together, slower now. The oven dims, but its warmth lingers. The air smells like burnt sugar, citrus, and something stranger like stardust caught in flour. Ray hums a tune, says he's going to write a song. Janice vows to paint the moment the drone caught the light. Eleanor just closes her eyes and breathes it all in. Janice slumps into a chair, exhausted but glowing. Best festival ever. Eleanor squeezes my hand. You brought them here, Veda. All of them. Ray starts sweeping. Knox is already under the counter, scribbling notes for next year's reflector grid. He sketched a new diagram on the back of a receipt, more angles, a prism, and what suspiciously resembles a solar satellite. Outside, the city feels different, heavier with memory, softer at the edges. Symbols shimmer faintly in the stone. Vines climb higher. A mural that was faded yesterday now glows beneath the lamplight. A fountain hums softly in a language no one speaks. And on the bakery door, a new sigil has appeared, drawn in flour by a hand none of us recognize. But it feels right. Feels like it's always been there. That night, I stand on the roof and look out over the patchwork of solar lights and old windows. Somewhere out there, ancestors and descendants are dreaming of each other, waiting for another chance to meet. I promise them and myself that next year I'll be ready for whatever chaos comes. Because the city changes. The family changes. Even the festival changes. But every solstice, we find out way back to the place where sunlight and memory meet.